Good evening. Nigeria is on fire right now over something you would never expect: your car's tinted glass. The tinted windows on your vehicle have become the latest battleground between Nigerian motorists and the police, and a legal practitioner named John Aikpokpo-Martins just dropped a statement today that has everyone talking. He said the police lack the power to review a court order and accused them of trying to turn themselves into a revenue-generating agency. These are not light accusations, and when you look at what has been unfolding, you will understand why emotions are running this high. Let me break this down for you. Earlier this year, the Inspector General of Police introduced a policy requiring all motorists to obtain annual tinted glass permits through an online platform. The policy was postponed several times due to public outcry, but the controversy never died. The Nigerian Bar Association filed a lawsuit challenging the entire legality of this policy. They argued that the law the police are using, the Motor Tinted Glass Prohibition Act of 1991, is outdated military-era legislation that does not meet democratic standards. They also raised eyebrows about something very suspicious. The permit fees are not going into the Treasury single account like government revenue should. Instead, they are going into a private bank account. That alone raised red flags everywhere. The courts got involved and issued orders telling both parties to maintain the status quo while the case was being heard. The Inspector General of Police gave an undertaking in court that he would respect the judicial process. Based on this undertaking, certain motions were struck out. Everyone thought the matter was settled and that the IGP would wait for the court to make a final decision. But here is where it gets absolutely wild. On December 15th, just days ago, the Force Public Relations Officer announced that enforcement of the tinted glass permit policy would resume nationwide from January 2, 2026. This announcement came right after the police had given assurances in court. You can imagine the fury this caused. The NBA president released a scathing statement calling the police move executive recklessness and contemptuous disregard for the authority of the court. The association is now threatening to initiate contempt proceedings against the Inspector General of Police and the force spokesman. This is serious business. Contempt of court is not something you joke with, and the NBA is making it clear that they will not stand by and watch the police undermine judicial authority. Now this is where John Aikpokpo-Martins enters the conversation with force. Speaking today on Channels Television, he did not hold back. He stated clearly that the police lack the power to review a court order. When a court makes an order, that is a judicial decision. The police, being part of the executive arm of government, cannot simply override it or decide to ignore it. If they believe the court order is wrong, their only option is to go back to court and file a review application. They cannot take the law into their own hands. The lawyer made it crystal clear that there is a subsisting court order, and it does not lie with the police, rightly or wrongly, to attempt to review it. He called that excuse childish. His words, not mine. But what really got people's attention was his second statement. He said the police are trying to turn themselves into a revenue-generating agency. That phrase cuts deep because many Nigerians have long suspected that some enforcement actions are more about making money than protecting citizens. Think about it. If you are a motorist who goes through the proper process, pays your fees and obtains your permit legally, only to have a police officer stop you and reject that permit or demand additional payments, what does that feel like? It feels like extortion. The fact that permit fees are going into a private account instead of the government treasury makes it even more suspicious. Who is benefiting from these payments? These are questions Nigerians are asking, and the police have not provided satisfactory answers. If you're enjoying this discussion and want to stay updated on issues affecting everyday Nigerians, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We break down these important stories so you understand exactly what is happening. The police, for their part, are defending their position strongly. Just hours ago, they released another statement insisting that no court has issued a final pronouncement declaring the motor vehicle tinted glass permit policy unlawful. They argue that there is no subsisting order permanently restraining them from performing their statutory duties regarding tinted vehicle glasses. The Inspector General of Police stated that the force remains unwavering in its respect for the judiciary and will comply fully with all valid orders of courts.
But he also clarified that the existence of pending litigation does not extinguish the lawful responsibilities of the police unless a court has expressly and finally directed otherwise. The police maintain that regulating tinted glass is a legitimate security concern because the misuse of heavily tinted vehicles has been associated with serious crimes, including kidnapping, armed robbery, and other threats to public safety. Here's the problem with the police argument. Legal experts are pointing out that maintaining the status quo means keeping things as they are, which means not enforcing the policy while the case is in court. When the IGP gave an undertaking to respect the judicial process, that should mean waiting for the final court decision, not announcing enforcement just days later. The timing looks suspicious to many observers. It appears like the police are testing the waters to see if they can proceed despite court involvement. Security concerns are real and nobody is debating that. Tinted glass can be used by criminals to conceal weapons, kidnap victims, or plan attacks. The government has every right to regulate tinted glass for security purposes, but the way to do that is through a transparent, legal process that respects citizens' rights and follows proper procedure. John Aikpokpo-Martins even challenged the police today, asking where are the statistics showing that crimes are rising from the use of tinted glass. He pointed out that police officers already tell drivers to wind down their windows at checkpoints, so reasonable Nigerians comply anyway. His argument is that if security is the real concern, the current system already addresses it. The broader issue here is respect for the rule of law. Nigeria is a democracy. We have three arms of government for a reason. The legislature makes laws, the executive enforces them, and the judiciary interprets them. When one arm tries to overstep its boundaries and encroach on another, the entire system is threatened. If the police can ignore court processes today on tinted glass permits, what will they ignore tomorrow? This is not just about car windows. It's about whether our institutions will respect the law or whether we will descend into a situation where whoever has power does whatever they want. Reports today show that motorists are anxious about what will happen when January 2 arrives. Will police officers start stopping cars with tinted glass again? Will people with valid permits be harassed? Will this become another avenue for roadside extortion? These are legitimate concerns based on past experiences. There is no consistency in enforcement, and where there is no consistency, there is room for corruption. The Inspector General of Police has promised that enforcement will be carried out with utmost professionalism and respect for the rights of citizens. He warned officers against extortion or abuse and promised disciplinary action for misconduct. These are good words, but Nigerians have heard these promises before. The proof will be in the implementation. What makes this situation even more frustrating is that this is happening at a time when Nigerians are already struggling with economic hardship. Adding another permit requirement, especially one whose fees go into a private account, feels like another scheme to squeeze money from citizens. The NBA pointed this out in their earlier statement, noting that the policy adds to Nigeria's already heavy burden at a time when people can barely afford basic necessities. What do you think about this situation? Should the police respect the court process and wait for the final judgment, or do they have the right to proceed with enforcement? Have you had any experience with the tinted glass permit issue? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let us have a real conversation about this because it affects many of us who drive on Nigerian roads every day. And if you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss our coverage of important issues like this. Until next time, stay safe on the roads and always know your rights.